forget what we're doing
is
already.
This thing going? I mean, it's been a year.
It's been 6 months.
No, it's been a while.
You see how people exaggerate? It's been a year.
Welcome back to episode 11 of For Better Best Podcast. It's your boy, Charles Beloved. And wait a minute. Are you here? I can't tell because you're taking up a lot less. Let me not say that. my fine, beautiful, a lot has changed since we last saw you.
Not that much has changed.
Immaculate Coretta Scott King.
You civil rights fine boy.
Miss Shireen Kirkendall, what's up, dear?
Sorry, I'm laughing, y'all. What's up? I'm so excited. It's not been a year. It's been like
at least 7-8 months.
Yeah. When did we stop? June? Yeah, like 6-ish months.
Okay.
But we're back. You know what? I think so many people have reached out and were like, when y'all bringing back the pod? When y'all bringing back the pod? So I just want to say thank you for listening. We're so excited to be back.
Absolutely. I think that was the biggest shock. I'm a data metrics guy, and I just, viewed this more as like a passion project for us season 1. But like knowing so many people were listening to it, people were stopping us at everywhere we went, like, oh my God, I love y'all podcast, or when are y'all coming back? I was like, I didn't think anybody listened to it. So that was really great to know.
This is going to be controversial, but.
Oh, here we go already.
I mean, we're here. Also, so many friends listened and so many friends commented and were like, oh, y'all are bringing it back. And I don't want to say it's a shock that friends listen, but we know like sometimes friends are not your biggest supporters.
Okay.
So I was just so thankful for people who
everybody out there. We really
know us.
It.
Yes. So please, if you love us, I just encourage you, please like or subscribe. Leave us a review, but only a positive one. If you got something negative to say, please keep it to yourself. We don't.
And I would say that's the biggest shift, like even in getting us back to ramping up. Like, obviously, we know this was your thing, and I wasn't really trying to, I'm sorry for hitting the mic. I wasn't really trying to like do it season 1, but now I was the aggressor.
He has
season 2.
Guys,
I have a lot to talk about this year.
The thing with Charles is obviously he has a lot of passion projects. He has a lot of things he works on.
Respectfully.
So he's like, Shireen, this is your thing. And I'm like, okay, great. He's like, but I have a whole episode I want to do. Make an outline. I'm
Multiple.
like, what's in the outline? I don't know what's in your brain. He's like, I didn't read the outline. I just know what I want to talk about. And
we're here and we're back. So thank you. Thank you for being my great support system. And I'm excited to get things going. So let's catch everybody up.
Yeah. So 6 months ago, where did we leave y'all? June, we were getting ready to go on vacation. Yeah. We did a world tour. We spent the summer in Chicago with the kids. And while we were in Chicago on our many trips, Charles got a phone call. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the phone call?
Well, it was an email.
Oh, it wasn't even a phone call.
Let me chill. I signed the NDA.
Barely got a phone call.
I won't go into my thoughts about how I found out. But I got an email, and that was it. I was at the barbershop midday. That's a conversation for another day. And I was laid off as a part of these massive tech layoffs that's happening across all of the different companies. And that was absolutely a shock.
And I was in the middle of my own work day. Charles had a whole day planned for himself. He had to go he was actually going to the office for work.
In the office.
And he calls me and was like, hey, just an update. I got laid off. And I'm like,
a fact.
Huh?
That was
Are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm okay, but I got to go to a meeting. So talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah. So the day I got laid off, I wanted to finish working. You know what I mean? And I hope that shows a lot about me.
No. You better one than me because I'm closing them people's laptop and I'm moving on. Work day is done.
No, I wanted to finish up. It caught me by surprise. But the shocking thing is, I was at peace. You know what I mean? Even when I called you, I wasn't feeling like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay my bills and provide for my family? And those thoughts absolutely came. But like in the moment, I was like, I feel like God got me. Yeah. So if this is what was meant to be as a part of the plan, like, all right, this is a part of the plan.
Yeah, and I will say we have a big network. Yeah, so you knew like that was your time to tap in. So you actually publicly shared that, and I was surprised. You shared all over that you got laid off. Like, what was your thought process behind that? Because I know a lot of people who got laid off who are like, I guess
keep it low.
Embarrassed or I don't want to share. Why did you share publicly?
So I knew to some degree as a recruiter by trade, knowing that you're on the market drives your price down. So the strategy for people not saying that, especially when, I was going to be paid through 30 days, technically my end date was in July, et cetera, I just did not want to be someone who said all these positive things season one about people going through it and not hiding behind it. Then when it happened to you,
hide it.
You hide behind it. Like, that to me didn't have good integrity. So honestly, this podcast helped me through it. My own words. I kept rewatching the episode. I know she got tired of hearing the Marvin Sapp song from it, but that was the first thing. And then secondarily, like, I hadn't been free agent beloved in some time. A number of roles that I had taken strategically to get us to where we were and where I was currently working, leading a global team, is because they came to me. I never had the option to, like, you know, do the decision, like, pick. And so I wanted everybody to know, hey, I'm here. You know, I throw events. You know that I lead recruiting teams. You know that I manage global programs and DEIB. And
what's good?
What's up? And because I did that, the streets called really quickly.
Also, I think that you doing that showed, obviously you're very successful in your day job, successful in your night job. But
thank you for that. I don't hear you talk like that regularly, so trying to turn me on. Turn me on when you talk like that, girl.
But someone commented on your LinkedIn post and was like, if it can happen to Charles, it can happen to everyone. Don't take it personally. And I thought that was so important because I think during layoffs, people do take it personally, right? Like, people think like, oh, it is me. When a lot of times, maybe it is you. We don't know the conversations that these leaders are having, but sometimes it's like, nah, you were good, but we had to get to a number and your name got pulled. So,
and don't get me wrong, that hits your ego, and it hit my ego as well. Like, you know, at that particular company, I was somebody who was looked at. I brought so many people with me. I was highly visible. I wore like a badge of honor, you know what I mean, where I worked. And so that also was like a learning lesson. The good news is that I worked 2 jobs. So my second job, and now I feel like having been an owner is like, hey, have your own IP. Have your own thing, because you putting your life in the hands, or your, you know, your mission statement in the hands of this other company. You're a number at the end of the day.
It's me and my friend was talking about the other day. It's called at will employment.
That's it.
They can let you go anytime they want to, just like you can leave. You can leave. You can get a 2 weeks and be like, I know it's busy season, but I gotta go, y'all.
But I'm out.
The bag is calling.
Absolutely. So it goes both ways.
So that's why when people take it so personally, I'm like, but you can also leave. So just like they asked you to leave, we're both free to go. So I totally agree with you with the have your own IP, or just have your own thing outside of work that you're doing. Okay, so you get laid off. We immediately have to go to Essence Fest, though. There's no time to be sad.
No, none at all. Obviously, you all know that was like the biggest deal for me, getting booked for Essence. I did their pre-party for the sponsors. I did their gospel event.
And then you did
I did a stage with AT&T at the convention center. But before we got there, I had theoretically heard from 2 people in my network that were essentially job offers. So when I tell you, like,
softball offers.
Yeah, you know, softball. We had some talk now. Don't get me wrong, but it was just like amazing to see that the work and the reputation that I had built, you know, it was worth something to people, and people wanted me, even when I felt like, you know, some people didn't want me. I was like, okay, I absolutely am wanted. So it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I just say, God sometimes closes a door. You were already kind of like, I kind of want to do something new.
Yeah.
But sometimes God has to give us that little kick in the butt. All right, I'm gonna shove you out your comfort zone.
Yeah. And I mean, I was definitely needed, because I was someone who was what you would say as a job hopper. I'm air quoting. As a recruiter, they're like, oh, this guy's leaving every year. But it was just incredible opportunity after incredible opportunity, bag after bag, location to get me to LA. But this is the first place I was like,
I'm good.
I'm not going to do that. Like, the money was good. Our life was good. I didn't need another house. We had the house. So I was like, you know, I can ride this wave, the ebbs and flows that come along with, you know, corporate America and restructures and layoffs. I made it through the first one, then the second one was my time. So it was very interesting to go through that. But, you know, everything happens for a reason now.
It did. So then you kind of put it out there. You got some softball offers. How did we get to R&B HouseParty getting acquired in this season?
Yeah, so shout out.
And sorry, second part. Yeah. Was this something you were even thinking about in general, like selling your company or moving on to do something different?
Yeah, so let's start with second question first.
Okay.
Which is, I was thinking about it. I recognize that as a larger Black man in my 30s, the shelf life of me jumping around, to your point, literally on stage, I'm never gonna let that dig go from season 1.
I mean, have you guys been to a party? He jumps.
That I can't do that for forever. So it was coming to a point where it was like, okay, what does the transition look like? Is it more like more formal hosting? Is it, doing a festival? So these are all things that I was thinking about while still maintaining, like growing to having the biggest year last year that we ever had, financially for R&B. But it was in the back of my mind, and just the sheer amount of work that it takes to do what we do with the level of meticulousness that I, as a Virgo, do it. Shout out Beyonce. It's just like,
are you comparing yourself to the
I'm just saying, theoretically, as Virgos, this is the level that we try and approach things.
I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let that one go.
In my space, I am the Beyonce. I'm not the Beyonce of Beyonce. Furthermore, and so we thought about it, and we kind of got softball, that's the word we use, an approach, like in January, that there was a particular company that might have been like looking to acquire parties. And that was the first time that I had ever heard of it. So I got my business in order. It was one little quick lunch. Nothing ever came of it, but it did put the bug out in my ear that this could be a possibility. And then talking to Kareem, my business partner, we were like, if somebody did seriously approach us, what we do?
Are we interested in
We were like, yes. Like, are you kidding me? Yes. And having gone through it and actually done it, it was so many people in the event space that was like, Charles, like, you really are a trailblazer. You really have created a path that we didn't even see, like a true exit for us. Because it's like, you do it, people stop coming, the party just phases out. It just
kind of dies.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you have a true plan and restructure. So that was super humbling to hear about. But that was part 2 of the question. Part 1 was Morgan DeBaun, shout out Blavity, shout out the team. I'm on death row right now. Let me stop calling this company death row. But that was the approach. Like, she Suge Knighted me and said, hey, like, Charles, like, what's up? Come over here. And in that, I thought she wanted the professional daytime Charles. But in the conversation, it was made clear that she wanted all aspects of it. She wanted me as an individual talent. Or I'll say they wanted me as an individual talent when I'm doing for influencing and hosting parties and events for other people as Charles Beloved. They wanted corporate Charles, because Charles Kirkendall, that guy, the one whose voice talks like this. No.
And sends emails and slacks at all hours of the day.
Sends emails and slacks at all hours of the day to assist with like Afrotech programming and what we were doing. And then from the R&B HouseParty CEO side, they wanted that to ultimately build this brand new incredible music experience that we're turning into the Blavity HouseParty Music Festival.
Which is now Blavity HouseParty.
So Blavity HouseParty is what it is, man. It was amazing. And when we talk about like God using your worst moments to become your best, Morgan later told me, after we went through a very harsh, difficult negotiation. So we could talk about that too. She told me that she never would have approached me had I not lost my job.
Well, yeah.
And for 2 reasons. A, she was like, I was never going to negotiate against myself because you were very much comfortable. And then that's just a different project. She was like, I couldn't effectively have you do what we really needed you to do.
Splitting your time.
We needed you really, really, really all in. And, when I heard that, I was like, wow, okay. I felt like, okay, I felt that way I felt that you felt that way, but actually like being in the trenches right now, I was like, I don't know.
There's no world. There's no world where you could have been doing.
Like, I'm in too deep, LL Cool J right now.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts building something from scratch. And it's a beautiful, beautiful process that we're currently in.
So as you went into like the start of the acquisition and like the contract negotiations, can you talk to us a little bit about what that entailed?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are entrepreneurs, and when we talk about having your like business in order, most people probably don't.
Yeah.
And even you were already getting your business in order. You were probably in a better space than you were years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
But even then, you were like, there were times where you were up in the morning, at night,
3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Like,
Yep.
Working on spreadsheets to get the business in order.
That's it.
So can you talk about like what the preparedness looked like to kind of share what your financials were with someone?
Absolutely. So, we had our overall top line revenue. Shout out Busayo. Shout out Keenan. Shout out Tasha. That's like my lawyer, my consultant for the acquisition, and then my accountant. Those 3 could not have done it without
that team.
And obviously Kareem, because we were just on the phone, screaming, cursing, happy, like throughout this entire process. But business in a percentage of 0 to 100 in order for acquisition, we were about 25%. But
you were about 25% ready for it.
Yeah, 25% ready in the grand scheme of things. Because, like, we weren't doing future forecasting, projections, all of that. So it was like, okay, we know that we're doing well.
You were taking a year by year.
And say, I feel like R&B's going crazy. They in Ghana, they in Croatia, respectfully. They asking tests.
You know, we're just laughing.
I don't want to come off that way now. You know, I'm ready to wear Beloved. We're gonna chill. We're gonna talk about shopping.
Definitely ready to wear Beloved.
And so, but all of that additional understanding is just not one that I had. Now, A, it was a gap of knowledge for sure. But B, it was, you know, me not taking seriously enough the power of my business. And when you're a founder and when you're a CEO and you're in go mode, then that
kind of falls to the bottom.
That falls to the bottom of the priority list. And so it was a great exercise, even though it took place over a very short period of time, much to the chagrin and stress of me, you, and Kareem, and the three incredible people that I mentioned. We were able to ultimately get it done. But the most intimidating thing that I've ever seen is a due diligence checklist.
Oh, yeah.
You are effectively what is called butt naked in front of said company. And in that moment,
showing them all your business.
Showing them everything short. I'm about to say of your Social Security. No, I think my Social Security was on there. You showing them everything. There's no secrets. There's nothing.
Your bank statement.
You know my son's middle name. Like it's that level of a document, but it's important for them to really truly evaluate whether or not this is, you know, financially viable of a business. And through that, they realized that we had a lot of growth potential, that we had done very well. And I would say the biggest flag for the interest in the acquisition was like our margins. We kept our margins real tight. And we were pretty profitable, primarily because we really leaned into partnerships for our events. And so while a lot of other promoters is only on ticket sales and stuff, we got our ticket sales, but the ones that I really went after were ones where I got my money before I showed up. You know what I mean? And hey, we pay for flights, I pay my staff, and then we have a sizable chunk to be able to put in towards the pot of the business. And so we went through that. You know, when it comes to these numbers, you know, my number was my number. Their number was their number. And so that was where the tension came in to figure it out.
So Morgan is your friend.
Absolutely.
We have known her for many, many years.
Yes, indeed.
She's someone we respect, we love. What was it like negotiating with a friend? Because to your point, they can get contentious. She has to do what's in the best interest of
the company and the shareholders. And shout out that, because now as a shareholder myself, I feel very confident and valuable in the leadership of this organization.
Morgan, you're doing a great job, girl. But yeah, she has to do what's in the best interest of her. Absolutely. You want to do what's in the best interest of you. And sometimes those things don't align.
Absolutely. And so I will absolutely say that there were a couple times that I know I got off the phone and I was ready to curse about her to you. And I know that there were times she got off the phone and was cursing about me to Josh. Shout out my brother Josh. And so what I will say I appreciate about her is she understood the balance. And this is like the genius of Morgan DeBaun. Like, she was able to tote that line, get me at that frustrating point, but not to the point where I was really ready to walk away and just digest my overzealous, sometimes very passionate response to be like, okay, you're saying this, but what I'm hearing is you want to truly understand the future value of your business and be a part and owner in that still. You care about this. You care about this. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm saying.
She is very good at that. And I also think she's very good at hearing what you're saying and unpacking what's important to you, like without you actually having to say that. So
And so that balance is what got us to a point and to a deal number that was like, okay, this has shown me the value of what we built. It showed me what this future could look like in this new construct. I feel appreciated. Kareem felt appreciated. And we felt like the best path forward long term for the brand was to sell it. And so, yeah.
How do you feel now having one job? Not being two jobs?
Well, I feel great. I wake up, you know what I mean? Not less stressed. And I think that I thought that I was going to be
your job now is big because it's multi-layered.
Yeah. So I'll tell y'all what my title is: General Manager of Community at Blavity. It's broken into like 3 separate things. Like one is community, and that's something that we really are trying to unlock, being an election year and how we show up amongst like our key target demographic. Well, y'all don't get to hear me talk like this. Number 2 is Afrotech program, and we have this incredible conference.
Shout out to Afrotech.
Shout out to Afrotech. That is, is a behemoth in and of itself.
Yeah.
That is a huge win. That my sister Simone White runs, and just doing my part to make sure that the programming is something that is consistently delivering what attendees are looking for. Yep. And then 3rd, building an entire music festival. And so those percentages of time kind of shift throughout the year. Obviously, I joined in like August, and I was ramp up for Afrotech. But in the midst of that, just putting the groundwork together
for the festival.
And now we're like deep into festival planning season. So, there's no sleep for the weary. I'm working equally as hard as I was, but it's beautiful that my mind is not in 2 separate places at all times. Yep. That's just like beautiful.
You don't have to code switch.
Yeah, I don't have to.
Jobs.
Yeah. That's the first thing. And I lost train of thought on the second thing.
But
there was
just
another
say,
second thing.
Watching Charles build this festival, y'all, this has been a dream of yours for a very long time.
Yes,
so, shout out to God for making our dreams come true.
For
However
real.
He does it. But I told Charles, I was like, could you imagine trying to build this festival and work a 9-to-5 at the same time?
As a quote unquote side hustle, no, it was impossible.
There was absolutely no way.
Impossible.
Y'all, the way he's up talking to managers, figuring out artists, like.
And that was the second thing. My job is culturally relevant. Like, I love being on the phone with all of these amazing artists all day long. So yeah, that's the second part that's really, really, really dope.
Well, I'm happy for you, babe.
Thank you, dude.
I'm glad it all
I'm happy
worked
for you
out.
too. You know what I mean? Going to Paris, Van Cleef and stuff. We're going to talk about, your life post-acquisition too.
All right. And then the second big thing that we did this summer was Carter turned 1 and we had a pool party for him.
Yes, we did.
Now, getting to this pool party was a sprint.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we touched on it last season. We were scammed out of $40,000.
Building a pool, got scammed by a company. And in socializing this to our friends, contractor scamming is at an all-time high. It's a real thing.
Everyone I've talked to was like, oh, yeah, no, my contractor's terrible.
Yeah.
So essentially what happened was we moved into this new community. They gave us basically a house and our lot.
Yeah.
So we had a house on a piece of dirt. And
Correct.
they like, that is your piece of dirt.
Responsibility.
Go build something on it. And so whatever you build, it's not bundled into your mortgage. However people get that money, whether they finance, use cash.
However you get it done.
However you get it done is how you get it done. So we started, it took us a few months to even start because it's like a behemoth of a project. It's a very large bill. And a few companies had reached out to us. Essentially, in new communities, you'll have companies putting flyers on
coming right to your door.
Cold
call, cold walk.
Because they know what you need. They're like, oh, people need blinds. So you'll have blinds company come. People need house cleaners. You'll have so you just get kind of like ads all day long. Yeah. So we had been reached out to by a few different landscaping companies. We had gotten a few different quotes, and to Charles's point, I swear landscaping and contractors are the most flighty people in the world. We would get so close with someone, they'd give us a price, we'd be like, okay, we like that, let's move forward. Stop hearing from them.
Yeah, odd behavior, but I would say for the last switch, this person was actually pretty good and we were ready and set to go forward. But then we got someone to just walk up to our door and the quote was, let me earn the right of your business or something like that.
So they gave
I said, hey, we about to pay this guy X amount. This is the plan of what they're going to do. You give me more value, I'll let you in. I wasn't in too deep yet.
So he comes up, and that's another thing. All of these companies build renderings for you. You have to pay for those renderings. Yeah. So
we ate a little upfront.
Yeah, we were already out of a little bit of money. So he bills us. So I'm like, okay, fine, let's pull the trigger. We build the rendering, and it's a stunning rendering. Things that other companies weren't including.
Like plants.
He was like, I'll include the plants for you. So essentially, he was like, I'll cut a little bit into my margins to make this worth your while. Cool. This should have been the beginning.
It sounded too good to be true.
If something is too good to be true,
guess what?
It probably is. But when you're looking at $100,000+, every few dollars you can save matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we start the project. We get started to the point where they were working so fast.
Yeah, we needed to pause.
We ran out of money.
We needed to pause. And they were going nuts because the payments are based on a milestone. You know, we closed on a very expensive home, had to replenish money by building now a high $100,000 project.
Cool. Yeah.
And then they were hitting each milestone every other day, 20,000, 35,000, 16,000. I said, wait a minute.
I came to Charles. Charles was like, all the money's gone. I said, there's no more money left.
There's no more pool money.
I was like,
I said, let's, you know what I mean?
Because we had kind of like, we had mapped it out where it was like, okay, Charles will have an event. Okay, so we'll be able to. We had our own milestones that we would be like, okay, we'll replenish the pot a little. No, the pot was done. It was done. The pot was empty.
Like,
so we had to. This was like towards the end of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. We had to tell them like, hey, can you give us like a month?
Yeah, it's around Christmas. I'm trying to buy Christmas gifts. You ask me $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 every other week.
So we were like, give us a pause. Yeah. And we'll be back up and running. But in between all of this, there were still things that they could have been doing around the pool. Like there were still like pieces that they could work on that we had already paid for. But then like guys stopped showing up. And in the midst of this, California has some of the worst rain. I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it was
if
crazy.
You were in LA
in January 2023,
it rained every day from like mid-December to like mid-January. So that naturally put a pause to the work because it was pouring outside and you can't work on an outside project in the rain. So then the rain kind of starts to let up. And like now it's raining. Instead of 5 days a week, it's raining 4 days a week.
And our neighbors in those off days, their people were at the house.
Coming.
And so I paid them. We back. I know we paused for a month and a half. You know, things worked out very well for me. I paid them in full.
So this was the last bit of money we owed them. So Charles was like, well, let's just pay them because we were like 75% done. Absolutely. So at this point, why wouldn't I trust you to just pay you to finish the work?
Just here's the money. Let's get it done. I'm trying to do a pool party.
They not showing up. Or it's one guy back there with a shovel and some tile. And I'm like, sir, it's just you?
Yeah. They started playing with us.
So every day we're calling the guy to the point where we have a fireplace outside, and you could tell the fireplace story because you were
all right
here.
Heated. But yeah, we got to a point, and you know, I'm very good with my words, and so over texts and things, I had a few frustrating messages and calls with them. Whereas neighbors were getting stuff done, but nobody was showing up to my house. And so I said, listen, there's a fireplace sitting here. Y'all have framing. Like, just get it in. Like, just get the California room, which is like the outside room that's connected to your house in California. So you can be outside and indoor living. I'm like, I at least want to be out here, even though I can't go completely, into the pool. And so they come. They said, we're going to get this done for you, Mr. Charles. That's what they call me, Mr. Charles. And they spend all day getting everything set up. They put marble all over, just it's beautiful looking.
It's coming together.
It's coming together. And they go to put the fireplace that has been sitting there for 2.5 months into the insert, and it doesn't fit. And so they knock on the glass and it's like, hey, can you come outside? So I come outside, and they're like, hey, we're going to have to come back and redo this because, the fireplace doesn't sit.
Too big.
And then I sat here and thought about the fact, probably like a 10-second moment, that this has been sitting outside for 2.5 months, and nobody thought to measure that you all ordered was going to fit inside of what you all cut.
So he said this exact same thing, y'all, but think like rage.
So I'm screaming to the top of my lungs.
To the point where I'm upstairs and I can hear him screaming, and I'm with Carter.
I'm in this man's face. Y'all got to apologize. God's not through with me. I'm still from Chicago.
I was like, his voice sounds like he's about to punch someone in the face, and I feel like I should go investigate, and I come down to Charles standing this close to that man.
I'm right in that man's face, and my kids were looking, so I wasn't actually going to hit him, but I need him to know, like, I'm not a game. And I went on like a Denzel Washington rant. I'm like, we're not like these other neighbors. Like, we don't come from money. Everything is self-made. And I paid you. Not money that's just sitting in a trust account. Money that we earned.
And that we need.
That we could have used for something else. And you playing with me right now. And so I let him know that. And I'm like, secondarily, the front of our house still had dirt everywhere. We're not living here for like a year. All of our other neighbors have their front yards done. And we one of the few black people on the block. No, in the community. And I'm like, they looking at me like, we ain't got the money. But I paid you. I'm sorry, you trying to get me there.
At this point,
I'm sorry, y'all.
At this point,
I don't want y'all to see me like that.
I took over comms with the guy.
I didn't want to talk to them ever again because I just knew nothing good was going to come.
And I said, y'all, do we need Charles screaming at everyone, or can we just show up? To the point where he started to frustrate me. Every time I called him, oh, sorry, Shireen, I missed your call.
I'm in the hospital.
I'm in the hospital.
My mother's in the hospital.
I had a heart thing. And one time I said to him, I said, you know what causes people to go to the hospital? I think he wanted sympathy.
Heart attack. He was like, yeah.
I had a heart condition. I said, yeah, probably because you got stressed because you keep lying to people and not answering your phone. That would stress me out too. I'd be in the hospital with a heart condition if I was dodging phone calls as well.
Sheesh, Bars.
So he's like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm going to send someone to your house tomorrow. Sends no one to our house. Yeah. So finally, the realization starts to set in that this man probably is not.
Yeah, he's robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's a Ponzi scheme. He's getting new projects in order to pay for the projects. Old projects. So starting to become pretty clear, and the communication is now starting to lapse.
Now he's just like ignoring everyone.
Now he's not
responding at all.
So how do we figure out that they scam some other people? What happened?
Well, one of our good friends also used this company.
Gotcha.
And he was also having the same...
Right. Shout out our boy. That's how we found out.
He was having the same experience. Yeah. So he had already started to kind of figure it out.
Oh, my God.
And then we were going to his house that weekend. He was having like a little get together, and Charles goes to them and he's like, I'm going to such and such house. If his shit look better than mine on Monday, y'all gonna have a problem. His shit look better than ours.
Not just it looked better than ours. We referred him to them.
And he was
so the timelines didn't map up. So I'm like, how's his project further along than ours when we referred you to him?
And his project was bigger than ours. Like I was
floored. I was absolutely floored. So I was ready to fight.
Yeah,
I had some very choice words, but
so our friend had already started to figure out what they were doing. And he was like, "Yeah, I stopped paying him. I stopped paying him, and they stopped coming. So I'm like getting help from other people." Yeah. But at this point, we had to finish the project. We were at a space where it was like we couldn't pivot. We had a big ass hole in the ground that had concrete in it, like
unsafe, no water.
We have a pool. It's not even like a hole of dirt where we just throw dirt back in. There is literally concrete is ready for plaster, and after plaster, you put in water. Like we were so close. Yeah. So the designer that we worked with, essentially, he worked with this construction company. Yeah. He comes over and he's like, "Yeah, like." The guy who owns a construction company
scammed everybody.
Scammed everyone.
Me,
like
y'all.
I've been buying things for projects because he's supposed to pay me back for like the barbecue grill or the ice maker that he's paid. I have a whole bunch of stuff that no one's paid me for that's supposed to go into people's houses. Yeah. So he stopped showing up. So essentially that guy helped us piecemeal and work together.
Work through fixing the project.
And what should have cost $40,000 ended up costing us like
65.
And we're still not done. We still have
a few things to do.
Left to do.
And like we rolled up on him. This is my Clyde. Like not the guy that helped us, the guy that went ghost. Shireen got his address.
The address that he had on his business license.
We went and staked it out.
And I went and was like...
And we went and knocked on the door.
Hi, have you seen him?
Yeah, they act like they didn't know who we were talking about. I was like... This is the Bronx right here. I'm Chicago. I'm pulling up. Like, if that's what we got to do.
I told Charles, I was like, yo, after I drop the kids off one day, I'm going to just go swing by the house and, like, just, you know, I'm not going to go to the door. I'm just going to scope it out. Charles was like, I'll go. I was like, okay, now I'm going to knock on the door then if I got you.
Absolutely. Like, listen, everybody out there, you have a number. You know what I'm saying? There's a nominal number that I would have let it go. Mm-hmm. And I just want to let you know, Charles and Shireen Kirkendall, $40,000 is not a number that I'm just gonna be okay about and eat. So we pulled up, but what is your number? The number that's gotta make you go knock on somebody's door. So we went and knocked on the door. My man like left the country from what we found out.
So from what we found out, like his mother's house was empty.
Yep.
The person who opened the door, she said she rents from them.
Yeah.
She was like, he has a stack of mail here. Who knows? He could have been in the house.
He could have been in the house. We didn't know, but yeah.
But she said she hasn't seen him. His car was, and I just wanted to know, really, what did he spend the money on? Because, like, respectfully, he was like this old guy, drove a broke down car. I was like, was it gambling?
It was it
wasn't ready to wear. It was. But it also didn't give drugs. Like,
it didn't seem like. It might. I mean, gambling is a good guess. It just didn't make sense where the money was going.
Did he take out a loan from a loan shark and never paid them back? It was just like the wildest thing. So essentially, I don't know what the moral of our story is, but
we got it done. And we overcame that.
We overcame it, but also, like, guys, do your due diligence with contractors. Like, don't go with the cheapest. I know when you're working on a big project, it feels like you should go with the cheapest. Absolutely. Go with someone who has reviews.
All the reviews that know what they're doing. Because we probably could have saved significant amount of money at the end of the day.
Yeah, maybe our backyard wouldn't have been as nice, but we wouldn't be dealing with the stress of, like, even today, like,
still trying to get it all
done.
It's immaculate. I look in my backyard and I'm actually
we're absolutely happy
every single day.
Our kids love it. CJ loves having a pool, but golly, the stress that it took us to get here, the sadness over 40,000 and what could we have done different? Like, y'all, I could have bought so much stuff for
all right, Chanel, Shireen, relax.
Not even Chanel. I'm just like, Lord, we could have done so much with this money. But yeah, no, we're here. We're excited. That kind of like wrapped up our year. We traveled over the holidays. Happy New Year to whatever time of the year you listening to this. This is our first episode, so Happy New Year to you.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We have so much fun stuff to talk about this season. I'm so excited to share what's been cooking in our brains with you guys. And yeah, we'll see you next episode.